Hey, what's up? Welcome to another superb tutorial. In today's episode, we are going to learn how to create this photo manipulation in Adobe Photoshop. And for this purpose, we are going to take this image and then we are going to place this curl over here, and we will be using the Photoshop to create this photo manipulation. So let's get started. So first of all, what we are going to do, as you can see right now, we have already extracted this girl from the background, and so we have this one, and this is the background or the grasses or the field which you can see over here. So we need to place her so that it looks like that she is actually there, and at the moment it seems like she is a cutout. Okay, so for that purpose will be, first of all, we need to analyze or decide that where we want to place her. So either we can place her in the middle or we can place it on the left side, and I prefer it on the left side because that way we'll be applying the rule of third to this image, and that would look more beautiful. Okay, so first of all, we have placed it over here, so we are going to create a layer mask. So we'll come over here and select this layer mask icon, and this is going to create a layer mask. And now we will come over here, select the brush tool, and from this drop down menu we'll select this brush, which is grass brush, which you can see right now over here. This is a grass brush, this is a default one. And then we will go to the brush settings and we will uncheck this color dynamics. Okay, and over here we will select the black color and opacity, let's say 100%. Okay, and the flow to 100%. And now we are going to select the layer mask. Make sure you select the layer mask, and we will start painting over here. So we can make the size of the brush larger as well, and moment we'll do this, you can see it has started creating this grass, and now it seems that she is actually there. Or if you want, you can increase the size of the brush as well. Okay, and now she is under the or behind the grasses and these flowers. So now it appears that she is actually there, and before we do that, we need to add little bit shadows as well. And as you can see right now, at the moment the light is coming from this side, so shadow has to fall on the left side. So for that purpose, what we are going to do, we are going to create a new layer, blank layer under this layer, which is a girl. So we'll press Ctrl or Command and we'll click, and that way it is going to create a layer under it, and we are going to call it shadow. Okay, and now we'll again go to the brush tool and brush settings, and we are going to select this soft as brush with 0 hardness, and we'll make the opacity around 10%. Okay, so we'll press 1 on our keyboard. It's going to turn the opacity into 10%, and this time we'll again take the black color, which you can see right now over here. If it is not the black for you, you can press D on your keyboard, or you can just double click it and then select the black color. And let's zoom in little bit and make the size of the brush smaller and start painting little bit on this side. Okay, so what will happen, it's going to create this kind of a shadow. Okay, and now we'll press Ctrl T or Command T, and we will drag one slider over here and drag it over here and increase it to something like this. Okay, so that it appears that shadow is actually spread over to this side, and press enter and lower down the opacity little bit if you think that you have overdone it. But now the result is looking much better. Okay, and now we need to work on the background. So we want the rest of the place little blurry, because at the moment the entire image is sharp. Okay, entire background is sharp like these mountains and these skies. So we don't want that because that would not look realistic. So for that purpose, here we have the background. So we'll create a duplicate copy of it by pressing Ctrl J or Command J if you are using the Mac, and then we'll go to the filter and select the blur gallery, and we'll select the field blur, or let's say tilt shift. Tilt shift is fine. So we'll click and drag it over here over this side. So what will happen, only this middle part will be sharp, or it would be in focus, and rest of the area would be out of focus. Okay, and if you want, you can adjust these sliders or these lines. Okay, you can even adjust these as well if you want, and let me just do it something like this. Drag it little up, and yes, this is fine. And then we can come over here and we can adjust the size of the blur. So let's say maybe I think this one is looking much better, but if I want, I can go to that much, but that would not look realistic. So I won't go that far. I think 26 pixels is much fine, or that is good. And let me adjust its position. And this is fine. And if you want to rotate it, you just need to hover your mouse on this point. As you can see, one point is over here and one point is over here, and moment we hover our mouse over here, you can see it start to give us this rotated arrow. So that means now we can press with our mouse, and then we can rotate it. So let me rotate it to something like this, because the background is this way, and now this one is looking much better. And once we are happy, we can adjust all these options over here as well, like light bokeh, bokeh color, and the light range. Okay, so let me just see how it looks. If I want, I think I don't want to use that, or light range, and I'm happy with this, so I'll press OK. And it's going to take little bit time depending on the speed of your system, because the blur is very heavy effect. And now you can see it has applied the blur, and right now you can see we start to see the replication of the lens. At the moment over here, the closer we are to the lens, that has gone the blurry. This one is sharp, and this one again went blurry or become blurry. All right, so let me first save this, because it's very important that you keep on saving your work. Otherwise you never know when Photoshop may get crashed. So it's very important to keep on saving your work. So I'll come back when I will save this document. Back, and right now, as you can see, in the previous lecture we have did this blurry effect, or make the realistic blur or lens blur to the background, and now we are going to edit this image further. Okay, so as you can see right now, at the moment, if this model seems to be very big to you, you can make her smaller. So we'll press Ctrl T or Command T to have the access to the transform tool, and now by pressing Shift and Alt, and we'll hover our mouse on one of the corner and we'll drag it down. So we'll make her smaller, something like this, or let's make her a little bit more smaller. I think this one is fine, and we'll press Enter. And now she is of the right size, and let me just drag her to this side, okay, little bit on the front side, and you can see she's now looking good. Okay, and this is the shadow, so I need to work on the shadows on this side. I feel that this shadow is little more more dark, so I will lower down its opacity to something like this, and that's fine. And now we need to color grade the girl so that this girl matches with the background. Okay, so for that purpose we'll come over here on the adjustment panel and we'll select the channel mixer from here. This is a channel mixture adjustment layer, so we'll select it and make sure we click on this clipping marks. So that means it is going to now affect only the girl layer, and as you can see this pointed arrow, which means that this layer is going to affect only the underlying layer and not the rest of the image. Okay, so this is very helpful for the photo manipulation purpose or editing purpose. Okay, so now we have over here all these channels, output channels. We have red, we have green, we have blue, so we can adjust all of these, and we have these sliders, so we can adjust all of that. So let's adjust them to match this to the background. So let's first adjust the red, bring it down a little bit, and bring the green little bit down, something like this. And blue, let's try, okay, let's keep it something like this. I think -2 is fine. And then we'll select another channel, that is the green, and let's adjust it as well. Then this green slider, and there is no hard and fast rule. You have to rely on your eyes. So if you see that this is matching with the background, you can just adjust that slider up to that level. Okay, all right, and we can adjust this black as well. I think this is fine, and then choose another channel, and that is the blue one, and let's adjust the red and green, maybe something like this, and the blue, and this one, and this is fine. And you can see the result by turning it on and off, and now she matches with the background much more than the earlier one. Okay, and now we are going to create one more adjustment, and that is the curves adjustment layer. So we'll also make her clip to the underlying layer. So this layer also going to affect the girl. Okay, and now we'll bring down the highlight a little bit, and let's open up the shadows to something like this, and let's try to adjust the mid-tone as well. I think this one is fine. Okay, so you can see the result by turning it on and off, and now we have less brightness on the face or on the girls on the right side. Okay, so you can see the difference. All right, and we'll select this layer mask of this curves adjustment, and we'll go to the brush tool, and we'll select the brush tool with the 0 hardness, soft as brush, and 10% opacity, and with the white color. Okay, so sorry, black color again, and we are going to paint on this side of the girl so that on this side it remains brighter, okay, because we don't want this side to be less bright. And if you want, you can increase the opacity as well. So let's press 2 on your keyboard to increase the brightness. And paint on this side or wherever you see little bit highlights or you want that part to be brighter. So we can see the result by turning it on and off. So we have made only the left side darker and we have kept the right side brighter because the sun is over here and light is coming from this side. All right. Let's color grade the entire image. So for that purpose, what we are going to do, we are going to create a stamp copy of it. So I'll press Ctrl Alt Shift E or Command Option Shift E if you are using the Mac, and then we'll go to the filter and choose the Nik Collection and choose the Color Efex Pro 4. And it takes little bit time to launch it. And once this filter is launched, it will open up this dialog box or this interface. And if you have not used or have and if you have not used this software or this plugin, then you can download it from the internet. This is from the Google and this is absolutely free. You can download and it has whole bunch of presets and very useful tools which I use on the daily basis. So I request you or I suggest you that you should also use it. And once this is launched, we will choose this cross processing plugin, and over here you can see we have the option to hide this panel. So you'll press it, it's going to hide it, and if we'll press once again, it is going to show up this side. And over here we can press this, so it is going to show us the split view. So on this side, this is before and this is after we have applied this filter, and we can see side by side view as well. Okay, so we can see this is before and this is after. And if we press over here single view, so it is going to show us the single view, and if we press compare, it is going to show us before, and if we release our mouse, it's going to show us the after one. And over here we can zoom in, we can select the zoom whether we want it to be 100%. So we can press and zoom into the image 100%, you can see, or if we want we can choose the 12% and we can choose 25%. So it all depends over here, so we can use that as well. And using this bulb icon we can change the background. Okay, so suppose if we have this much smaller image, or we have zoomed out it to 6.2%, and by pressing this bulb icon we can change the background color. So we can make it gray, we can make it black, or we can make it white. Okay, and again over here we have this option to hide the sidebar as well. Okay, so we'll press again, it is going to show up over here. So whichever the filter we have selected, it is going to show up over here. So you can see right now over here we have the cross processing, and here we have the sliders, here we have these different presets we can choose, and we can choose its strength, we can choose whether to apply how much we want it on the shadows. So we want it to apply 47%, 100%, or we don't want it to be 100% or 40%, so we can adjust the shadows and highlight. We have the control points as well, so we can all do that with the help of this. Okay, so let me just make the background black because I like the black. So I'm going to zoom in to fit it in the background or in the view, and from this drop down menu let me hover my mouse over all these presets and it's going to show me the real-time preview. So I will go for something which I like. You can go for something which you like. Okay, I think I will go for, let's say, this one, and let me bring down its strength, or let's try to increase it. I think this one is fine. And if you still not sure, you can go back again, and I think this one is also looking good. Yes, this one is also looking good. And sometimes we get confused browsing these filters. We don't understand that which one to apply or which one not to. Okay, but I think I will go for this one, and I can see the result by comparing it by pressing this compare button. Or let's see, let's try this one. I think this one is much better, so I can see by pressing this, and let's increase the strength. Okay, I think this one is fine, and I'm not going to use any other filter on this, though I can use over here. So let's add one more filter and add the vignette lens over here, and let's increase lesser the amount to something like this, and let me place the center. Click on this point over here, and then I can place the center. So I will place the center over here. Alright, so we can see the difference by turning it on the or pressing the compare, and once I am happy I will press OK. And it takes time to process it, and once it is done it is going to show us the result. Alright, so we have got this kind of a result, and now we are going to add little bit more light on the sky. So we'll create another blank layer and change this layer blend mode to hard light, and using the brush tool with soft as brush with 0 hardness and let's say 100% opacity, we are going to choose this orange color, and we are going to make the size of the brush larger, and we are going to paint in here once. Okay, and now we'll press Ctrl T or Command T, and we will, by pressing Shift and Alt, will scale it up so that this one spreads everywhere. Okay, or you can adjust this as well. Okay, or you can scale it this way as well and press enter. Okay, and let's try to change its layer blend mode to linear dose. Linear dose is not looking good. Color dose now, or overlay, or soft light, or vivid light. I think soft light is much better, so I will go for soft hard light, and let's lower down its opacity a little bit. Okay, and now let's add birds in the sky. So let me browse the birds image and place it over here, and I have brought these birds, and let me make them smaller, something like this. Place them over here and press enter. Okay, and now we are going to lower down its opacity by coming over here. So we'll lower down its opacity to something like this, so we can zoom in to see, And let's change this layer blend mode to overlay and increase the opacity this time, and this way it looks fine. Okay, and if you want you can make them blurry as well, but since we have used the overlay as a blend mode, this one is looking much better. Okay, and now let's further color grade this image. So for that purpose we'll go to the adjustments and we will select the selective color, which is over here. So we'll click and it is going to create a selective colors adjustment layer, and if you click over here you will see all these colors available, and choosing the colors we have these sliders so we can adjust them and we can get the result we want. Okay, so this is another way to color grade your image. So first we are going to target the red one, so let's try something like this. So you can adjust all of these and then select another color and green, and then another color cyan, and then blues. So you can adjust all these different colors. Magenta is not available in image, so let's go for the white. And then neutral, let me bring it towards the red side, and this one, then black color, and something like this. Now you can see the result by turning it on and off. Now this one is looking much better, and let's add a little bit bright light over here. So we'll create another blank layer and change this layer blend mode to linear doors this time, and we'll select this dark brown color, or this is dark black color, and we are going to paint here once, and you can see it made this one little darker or this bright. And we'll create another layer, and this time we'll select the soft light and choose the orange color, and we'll paint over here like this, and press Ctrl T, and we are going to spread it over here. And we can scale it down or scale it up, and press enter. Change its opacity, lower down its opacity to something like this. You can see the result by turning this on and off. I think I will not keep the underlying this one dark red on. I will turn it off and I will keep only the top one, which is the soft light. Okay, and now we are going to finally sharpen this image. So we'll press Ctrl Alt Shift E or Command Option Shift E, and then we'll go to the filter and select sharpen and select unsharp mask, and by zooming in we will make it to something like this, 98%, and press OK, and this will make it little sharper. Okay, and now we are going to use these petals and we will put them on the girl's hand so that it appears that she's blowing these petals, all right, or these, I don't know what they call, the leaves of the flower. Okay, so we'll press enter and we will make a selection of these leaves. So for that purpose we'll come over here and go to the selection tool and we'll select the magic wand tool, or we can press W and we'll make a selection of this white color, and that way it is going to select the entire white color, okay, in the image. All right, and then we'll go to the select and select the inverse, or we can press the shortcut keyboard command that is called the Shift Control I or Shift Command I if you are using Mac. And now only these leaves have been selected, not the white background. And now we'll press Control J or Command J and we'll turn off this layer. We don't need this, and now we have got this kind of this layer only. And now we are going to remove this flower from here. So for that purpose we'll create a new layer mask by clicking this icon, then we'll choose the brush tool and make sure the brush is with 0 hardness and opacity 100%, and over here we have the black color. Okay, and we'll start painting on the flower, and that's going to hide it from here. And let me hide these as well, and this one is fine, and let me remove this one as well. And let me shape it to something like this. And now we are going to make them smaller. So we'll right click and select convert to smart object, and it's very important that you convert any layer into the smart object, and that way when you will scale it down or scale it up you will not lose the quality. So make it a habit, before you scale it up or scale down any of the layer, make sure it is the smart object. Okay, and now we'll press Ctrl T or Command T to have the access to transform tool, and by pressing Shift and Alt will make their size smaller, something like this. And by pressing Control Space and with our mouse we can zoom in, and let me place it over here, and let's scale them and resize it to something like this, and we can make them something like this. So that these remain on the hand. Okay, so place it over here and press enter, and now you can see we'll create a duplicate copy of it by pressing Ctrl J or Command J, and using the move tool we can move them over here and press Ctrl T and hover your mouse on one of the corner and rotate them. Okay, so that way we'll be having a mix of all these. Okay, Alright, and now we'll press Alt and click on one of these layers and drag it out, and that's going to create a duplicate copy of it. And once again we'll do this and press Ctrl T, and we are going to resize it to make them bigger, something like this. And let's create one more copy and Ctrl T, rotate them and make them something bigger and press enter, so that it appears something like this. Okay, and we can make some of them blurry as well, but at the moment there is no need, because we are keeping it within this focused area. If we want, or we place them over here, then we can make them blurry as well. And let's group them together by selecting all of these layers by pressing Shift and selecting it, and by pressing Ctrl J or Command J we can group them together, and we can call them Petals. Okay, and turn it on and off to see the result. Now this one is looking good, and let's try to turn this on layer, this layer on once again, and let's again make a selection of it using the quick selection or this magic wand tool, and press or click on the white color, and by pressing Shift we can make a selection of this area as well, and Control Shift I or Command Shift I to invert the selection, and we can now press the mask icon which is over here, and it is going to mask it out. So now we have got something like this. And again with the brush tool, with the soft edge brush, 100% opacity, with the black color we are going to paint on this flower, because we don't want that. And now we'll select the flower layer, not the mask, and then go to the filter, choose blur and choose the motion blur, and we'll make them something like this. I think before we apply that we need to apply this layer mask, so we'll right click and select convert to smart object, and that way that mask would be applied. And then now we can go to the filter, blur and choose the motion blur. Yes, now this effect is being applied, so you can choose the angle from here, and you can choose the distance as well. So I think I will go for something like this, and we'll press OK, and now we'll press Ctrl T or Command T. It is going to show us some warning, ignore it, and click and drag it outside on the outside frame and press enter, and we get this kind of a result. And we need to refine it, so we'll create another layer mask. Again with the brush tool, with black color we are going to paint in little bit on this side. We're going to remove some of it from here, and if you want you can further blur them out. So we'll select this layer, go to the filter, blur and choose Gaussian blur, and we can choose the radius. And before we do that we'll right click and select once again convert to smart object, and go to the filter, blur, Gaussian blur once again, and blur them out to something like this. Okay, and press OK, and we'll right click and select rasterize layer, and we'll make a selection of this part. So we'll come over here on the marquee selection tool and make a selection of this area, and we'll press Ctrl J or Command J to have or to create a duplicate copy of this side, and then we'll press the V for move tool and we'll place them over here on the outer side, okay, not in the inside. And for that purpose, you can see we have this, we want to remove these, so we'll create a layer mask again with the brush tool. With black color we can paint in to remove it from there, and let's paint one more in the middle. Okay, so we'll create another layer, or we can press Ctrl J to duplicate them, press them in the middle, and by pressing Ctrl T and rotate them to something like this and press enter. Again create a layer mask and using the brush tool remove it from here. And this one now looks much better. Okay, and if you want you can adjust their position. So if you want you can place them like over here or over here, something like this. I think this one is looking good. And now finally what we'll do, we'll come over here on the gradient and we'll select the gradient map, and in the gradient map we will select this layer presets and we'll select this one which has three colors, which has blue, red and the yellow. This is a default one, so we'll press OK and change its layer blend mode to lighten, or let's try screen, or let's go for soft light. I think it's not looking good, so what we are going to do, we are going to delete it and let's create a stamp copy of all of this. So I'll press Ctrl Alt Shift E or Command Option Shift E, and then we are going to go to the filter, blur, and choose the Gaussian blur, and we'll blur it out to something like this where we don't see anything, and then we'll press OK and change its layer blend mode to screen, or let's say lighten. I think screen is looking good, so I'll go for screen, and then we can lower down its opacity. So that will be having a soft light effect like this. And then go to the adjustment layer, select brightness and contrast, and let's increase the contrast a little bit, and you can adjust the brightness to your liking. And I think this one is fine. So you can see the difference by turning it on and off. And finally I will create one more photo filter which is over here. So we'll select it and it's going to give us this warming filter, and we can adjust its density as well, or we can try a different one. So warming filter, different options. I think this one is looking good, yellow, or we can go for blue as well. or deep yellow is also looking good, but I think I would go for the warming filter 85. Okay, I think this one is good, and let's adjust its density. So let's keep it something like this, so we can turn it on and off. Now this one is looking much better. And there is one more thing which we have forgot to do, and that is we need to apply some motion blur on these petals as well. So we'll go to the petals folder, which is over here, and we'll select the different petals, and we'll go to the filter, blur and motion blur, and we will choose the random angle for them, for each of them. So filter, blur, motion blur, and choose different angles. So that way we can easily create the realistic effect. Filter, blur and motion blur. And let's check. Alright, we need to apply a little bit over here on this one as well. So we have applied it, and let's make it something like this. Press OK and zoom in to see the result. Yes, now this one is looking much better. Okay, so thank you so much. I hope you have learned something useful from today's episode, and if you do, please do let me know in the comment section below. And if you like today's episode, please hit the like button, and if you have any question, you can leave that in the comment section below. So thank you so much. Bye bye. See you in the next episode.